What's up, everybody? This is Zach
and Allie
with the Nerd Cave. Today, we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian, or better known as the Baby Yoda
Baby
show.
Yoda, baby Yoda.
We're 4 episodes in.
Yes.
We're going to talk about each episode.
Yes.
If you haven't watched it, go get that Disney Plus trial.
It's free week. Yeah.
Yeah. You can get 4 episodes right now. Actually, if you do it the day you see this, you might get more than 4 episodes.
That's true, because it seems like they're like every Friday.
Yeah, every Friday. And if you wait until the whole show's done, you get it all.
I mean, that's true.
Could binge it all.
It's true.
But it's smart for Disney.
It is very smart to be like, hey, here's a fun new show. Come join us now.
Yeah. And to like dole it out every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on The Mandalorian in the comments below. So there might be spoilers. We'll put some sort of spoiler warning.
Or just understand that since we're talking about the episodes, this will be full of spoilers.
Yeah, there you go. Like, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, then come back.
Yes.
Like, you'll enjoy this conversation a lot more.
Yeah, it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, you won't be like, huh?
Yeah.
So go watch it. Come back.
You'll get to enjoy Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
And, like, if you're like,
Yoda.
It's not Baby Yoda, it is Baby Yoda. That's what we're going to refer to it as.
Yeah, that's...
Or boy.
No, it's Baby Yoda. Well, what if they just make him like
Baby
that's his name?
Baby Yoda, boy.
Okay. Let's call back to an
Baby
earlier conversation.
Yoda.
You know what? I'll allow it.
Boy.
Oh boy.
Oh, so we're gonna get into it. Episode 1. I love how this episode opens. Like,
yes.
we're gonna be nerdy about this.
Oh,
We're gonna
absolutely.
just be like, here's just the overview of
No. Gritty details.
Like, I've watched this thing like 4 times.
It's
first episode.
super good. I want to rewatch the whole thing again.
So it starts out like it has like the new like logo. It's very like Marvel-esque.
Yeah, it's very much like a hey guys, we have like the Star Wars universe now.
Yeah, but the first episode I love because it has like the beep.
Yeah.
Like, it has that tracker that's, like, going with, like, the visual and everything.
Good. It's so
and
good.
then it, like, shows him with the tracker, and I'm like, ooh, that is awesome.
It's great.
And we're on this planet, this ice planet, never heard of it before.
Right.
He's looking his awesome self.
It's true.
The Mando. We're going to call him Mando.
Yeah, they call him Mando.
And... like, this whole, like, first, like, kind of sets up, like, how awesome he is.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Going into the bar, like, we see the bar, like, they're, like, these thugs, you know, harassing this guy. And
right.
It's like, the Musk and all this. Like, you're weird. Like, this is weird. I don't know what you're talking about, but this is weird. But, like, I love, like, before, like, he knocks his drink over, and then he blames the Mandalorian. Like, he's just looking for somebody to pick a fight.
Right.
It's like, how dumb are you?
And I love how, like, he's just like, hey, you not, like, and, like, Mando's just like, he just does not give him the time of day. He does not speak a word. And then the bartender's like, no, it's on me.
Yeah, he's like, he said you knocked his drink over. He's like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm
care. Not.
And he's like, is that Beskar still? And that's the first time we hear Beskar still in the show. And if you don't know what that is, that's like the steel, the minerals that the Mandalorians have to make their armor and everything. They don't explain a lot of the things in the show
but
until later
it's
on.
one of it's you learn through like inference, and then they eventually explain it.
Yeah, and then like he like scrapes his like his chest plate,
and then he's like, excuse you.
The bartender slides the drink, you know, like old time bartender sliding the drink. I love that little homage. Like, this is a Western show.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
that's very much the vibe I got. It's very like old school, like cowboy-esque. Like, especially like there's like times that he's like walking, and I'm like, I want the cowboy hat. Where's the hat?
What's cool is we get back to the bar scene. Is like when he walks, you can hear like a ching.
Yes.
To it, I love. Like, I know he's got like all this.
It's
metal
the armor, but it's almost like the spurs
like
clinking.
the spur, like that's what I hear, and
It's
I'm
so
just like
great.
so subtle, but it just adds
so
to it
good.
so well. So he slides the drink over, and like he bashes it on the other guy's hand. But I love like just the little like how good he is. Like he takes the guy's knife and shoves it into his back, and it's just like all of this.
And then they have like this whole like fight scene that's really cool. And then like whenever, because like there's the door going into the place, it closes like a camera capture, so it's like it closes like a circle.
Yeah.
And he pushes him in there and cuts the dude in half. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, what?
And you just hear the thud, like,
and you're just like, and everyone's like.
Like it leaves it up to the imagination, but you see it like closing around,
right? And, and then you hear the thud, and so it's like, okay, obviously that's what happened. Yeah. But it's so I'm just like, also, this is what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Like it sets up perfectly like what he's all about.
And then he just goes back to his business.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever.
I love, like it sets up a lot of things, like his distrust for droids, like after he gets the first bounty and everything. His distrust for droids, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I love the driver. He's a comedian, like he's the very tall guy with the beard and all of that. Yes. I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
But I'm sure he was geeking out to be in Star Wars.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's always been a big Star Wars fan. But that big walrus.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like that was so cool.
So just like clomping the.
Yeah. Like it was just like on there, and when he has the bounty in his ship, and like he's just trying to like the guy's just trying to get him to talk or whatever.
Right. He just never saying a word. I thought for the longest time, like I was like, is he just like not gonna speak this show? Because that would be kind of cool. But then like I'm glad that eventually he started speaking.
Kind of remind me of like Samurai Jack in that way.
Yeah.
Where, like Samurai Jack only talked when he really needed to, like if he was angry or really needed like a point or whatever. So like he's talking. He's like, well, I'm gonna like, where's your bathroom? I need to, blah blah blah. You know, I need to go use the restroom. And then like he's like searching the ship,
and then he just like he's searching around like, oh, I'm using the bathroom, tee hee hee, and then something about my people and this and that, and then
Life Day and all of this.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden you turn around and Mando's just like standing right there, and he's just like, no.
He's like, I was hoping to get to see my family on Life Day. He's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
And then like does like the carbon freezing or whatever.
Yeah,
I can't remember the specific name.
Carbonite.
Carbonite, yes.
And like to have a carbonite,
he's just on his ship. Just on his ship, and then like you see, I think it was like 4 or 5 other bounties he'd collected, and you're just like, this dude's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like for him to have that on his ship, like that's a whole nother level.
Oh, absolutely,
a whole nother level.
But also like, I mean, it's pretty smart.
It makes
bounty's
sense.
Not gonna get away.
And no flight risk, no having to worry about what they're gonna do and all of that. Yes, they're gonna be blind for a while once they come out, but they're probably gonna die.
Takes it like a day, because like Han, he was probably in there longer, and he recovered in like a day.
He was in there for a couple months.
Yeah. And
he
like Mando probably had him for like, I don't know, a couple weeks or something.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
It'll work out.
Plus, I mean, they're
he doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't care.
He's getting the money. So we see him come back to the place. They don't really name the planets on this and everything.
Yeah, they haven't. Which is like, I'm fine with that.
But we see they've established a bounty hunters guild here, which is really
cool.
I
really like that. Although I will say, I guess it's technically isn't until like the second episode, but I'll touch on it a little bit. Where it's like there are times when like it feels very much, and I wonder if this is kind of like the joke they were going for. It feels very much like we're watching like someone play an MMORPG. Like the way like the bounty guy like their guild master, I should say, talks to them. It feels very much like an NPC doling out quests. But I'll talk more about that when we get to the next episode.
So we see him come in. He's talking to the guild master, Carl Withers.
Yes, Carl Withers.
And he's turning it in and all of that. And he's like, "Where's what's the next bounty?" And he's like, "I got a bell jumper. I got a bell jumper.
Yeah, bell jumper." Mando tries to go like, "I want all of them," and he's like, "No."
He's like, you only get one or whatever. And he was talking about like how little people are paying the guild for these things. And it's like it wouldn't even cover fuel.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, this is like my highest paying one. It's only 5,000 credits. Amanda's like, that's nothing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I love like it's like it won't cover fuel. You never hear anything about fuel,
right? Yeah,
at all.
The only
in the
time
Star Wars universe.
Yeah, the only time they talk about it is like, oh, we need to refuel, but they never talk about like the cost of it or anything.
Yeah.
It's also I guess it's also important to mention that it takes place. He said it's 5 years after episode 6.
It's like 5 years after episode 6. The Empire's already been,
the Empire's gone, but you can still there's still like, I guess, loyalists, if you want to call them that, hanging around.
Yeah, so there's loyalists. The Republic is like fledgling. Like in this version of it, like it's fledgling.
Yeah,
like in the expanded universe, like they've already kind of like established and everything. Right. But in this, like what's canon,
right?
Now,
yeah, what's now considered Disney canon.
Yeah. Like,
and then it's also they even like the Guildmaster. He like even says, like and there's, something with the New Republic. And Mando's like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, I loved that little bit. Just like, whatever.
Yeah, because he know it's not going to work or anything. But he hints at a new bounty that's like in person and everything.
Right.
I know we're taking a little bit of time, but
I mean, it's so good.
We're gonna go in depth here. So he goes to this new place of like trying to get this bounty from the actual person giving the bounty,
right?
Not from the guild or anything.
It's like all hush hush kind of. It's technically over the table, but it's it's under the table.
Yeah, like it's very hush hush. And he gets to the door, and you see like the little droid eyeball come out. That's a throwback to Jabba's palace where he had one.
You actually, I think it's earlier that episode. It's Jabba's little like the guy who like hangs out on his shoulder. You see them like cooking those species, and I was like,
yeah. And then one's watching it. It's like, mom. It's like. It's so
it's oh my
sad.
goodness. It is. I was like, I mean, I've always hated that thing, but like now I feel so bad.
He was annoying.
I mean, yeah.
But yes, they didn't do anything that we know of.
Yeah, I mean they're probably fine.
But it was saying mom. It was just like. So he knocks on the door. He shows a little card that he got. He comes in, and then you have a gonk droid, gonk, like escorting him in, which is very interesting. Like gonk droids are like walking trash cans.
I love. Honestly, they're the best.
They
really are.
And then the door opens, and you see a stormtrooper.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay.
Like I know they use this like on the promo material and everything, but you see the stormtrooper. And he looks worse for wear. Like armor is
all of them are like I'll say this from like an outside perspective, like all like the weathering and like the makeup and everything in the show is like visually they looks incredible. Yeah, like all like the practical effects and everything, and yeah, like they make the stormtroopers, they just look dirty. They're like covered in like orange like dirt and mud and stuff.
They look like they've
been through some
stuff.
So yeah, some stuff.
So we see that, and then we are greeted with this Empire dude. They don't really name him anything like that.
They don't name him, but he has like an Empire medallion on, and he looks, like he's wearing like nicer clothes. And
probably a governor at some point in time. Like he isn't a Moff, because Moff would be in like a military uniform. But I think he might be some kind of governor.
He was probably political.
And then he's talking about it, and you're going to be paid in Beskar steel. Here's the upfront payment and everything.
Yeah, and he's just like,
and Beskar again. We already hinted at this. This is like important to the Mandalorian.
Yeah, like belongs to them, and they say like it was taken from them during during the purge and all that stuff. And so it's like it's good that it's finally coming back into the rightful hands.
Yeah. But the part that I liked in this is when the doctor came in. And like he drew his weapons and everything, and like all the stormtroopers are like, and he was like, tell them to put down their weapons. He's like,
and stormtroopers like, we outnumber you like 4-1, and he's like, I like those odds.
Like I was like, yes,
it's so great. I love Mando.
And then he gets a contract for a being that's like 50 years old.
Like it's 50 years old. We don't know exactly where it is. We can give you the last known coordinates. It'll track him. Just follow the fob. That's what they call it.
The fob.
And you'll be good to go. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, because he doesn't get a puck that has like the ID, like you can see what they look like and everything. It's just the fob. Yeah,
it's just a fob. It's kind of like a metal detector. The closer you get to it, the more it starts beeping.
Yeah, which is interesting because like I don't know how it like works.
Yeah, I was curious because then like getting a little ahead of ourselves because eventually it reactivates. Yeah. And so I want. Yeah, I remember watching it thinking I want to know like. I mean, obviously, it's a sci-fi thing, but I still want to know how this works.
Because it's like, they have like a part of what they call a chain, and it's only his like age or whatever. But like the fob would have to like have the coding to like DNA or something to show where it's at. Right. So I'm not sure how it all works.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. And maybe that's one of those, it's just a plot hole thing. It happens. I'm hoping that, because so far they've been really good about explaining stuff. I mean, eventually they kind of get there. But like, that one I'm curious, especially because it's kind of like a recurring thing.
Yeah.
I want information.
Yeah, I want to see like how to get past it, like bypass
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, I was just say like probably because they'll have to learn how to get around it. They'll probably
Yeah.
explain how it works that way.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yes.
So he gets a fob, he goes off, ship, and his ship's pretty cool.
His ship. Yeah, I really like his ship. It's really cool.
He lands on this planet. And they don't name it.
Yeah.
They don't name a lot of things.
Which, because it's also one of those, it's like, you don't need to know. Just know it's a new planet. And I'm like, you know what? I can respect that.
It looks a lot like Tatooine. And
honestly, yeah, like based on some of the other stuff, part of me thinks it's like like maybe like on the other side of Tatooine or something.
Yeah. But it's more rocky than Tatooine is.
But that's what I'm saying is like it could be like well, we know Tatooine is over here, but then like they happen to be in this one spot.
Eisley, like over in that area and everything. So it kind of looks like that. Again, if you haven't watched the episode, you gotta watch. And we're getting nerdy on this. So he gets there, he brings out his rifle, and he's scoping it up, and he sees like these little like creatures. They're
called like bergs, I think is what they're called.
They look like short dewbacks, like 2-leg dewbacks type deal. And what's funny is like so many people made fun of dewbacks back in the day, and now it's like we have even a shorter dewback. Like, anyway, so he sees it, like he's scoping. There's a bunch of them, and then like
one just like
comes out of nowhere and like attacks him.
It like bites his arm, and he tries to like tear his arm off. Basically.
Yeah, like he tries to like hit him with the flamethrower, but it grabs that arm and everything. And then like it's this whole fight that ensues and all of that.
And all of a sudden, like, because eventually like two of them show up, and then like they both get tasered by someone off camera, and then Amanda's like, oh, "Who was that?"
Yeah. Now this character,
I
love him.
He is great.
He is awesome. Like he's an Ugnaught. This is the first Ugnaught that I've seen that can actually like speak.
Yeah.
The rest of them have just like made pig noises.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I thought that was really cool bringing that in. It's like these are like actually like intelligent creatures and everything. And like he can speak perfect English and everything,
Because like he has this quirk where it's like whenever instead of him being like, like we're not talking about this, it's one of those like whenever he is like made a point, he's like, I have spoken.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that little thing because whenever he helps Mando out, Mando's like, oh, is there anything I can do to like help you? And he's like, no, I have spoken.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, that's final. It's it.
It's
I'm
final.
like, oh, it's so great. I love it.
And it's just he's so good. We have this weird moment though where like Mando's like learning how to ride the thing.
I loved that scene. Like it was weird, but like I loved it.
It was weird because it felt like it was like trying to like use up time in a way.
I think it could have been. I feel like it was trying to be also like make this character a little bit more relatable because it's like, oh look, he doesn't know how to do everything. He's a little doofy, and also it had a little like lighthearted humor, and then also they were also to talk about a little bit more of like the Mandalorian lore. Where it's like, well, your people, they were able to ride these
great mythosaurs.
Yeah, which
I got
that's a good name.
That's a good name. Which is funny is like Mandalore, the first like leader or whatever. That's what their leaders were called. Were Mandalore. Like he like it's like. It makes a T-Rex look like nothing.
Right.
Like, this is a huge thing. So, like, him bringing that in there and, like, people know the legends and everything.
Sure.
So, it's just really, really cool that
so I think it was one of those, like, it was used to buy time, but they were also like, oh, well, we can put some important info in here. Like, it wasn't necessary, but they were able to use it to their advantage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like people know the heritage, the history or whatever, but they don't really know that if it's true or not.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's trying to be like this. Like a lot of people keep asking because one of the Mandalorian things is like you cannot take off your helmet in front of other people, and then once you do, you can never put it back on. It's just part of their culture. Yeah. And it's interesting to like people would always like they make comments about it like, oh, this about your helmet, this about that, but it's like people are always just trying to learn about them because they They had to go underground.
Well, I guess that's why Django isn't a real Mandalorian because he's like bebopping around without his helmet.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's like over here talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, no helmet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
it's like, and then his face is everywhere.
Yeah.
Clones. Yeah, we got your number, Django. We got
your number.
Well, Mace Windu called his number. Anyway, back to Mandalorian. Once he gets to this planet, we see that he's way more human than like I love the character development because so many movies, especially Star Wars, like the hero is like can overcome any odds, can do this, that, and the other pretty much by themselves.
Sure.
And you know that they're going to live.
Yeah, because you're like, it's the main character.
Yeah. we know he's going to live, but we don't know if he'll be successful.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's all based around the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorians.
Yeah, exactly. You have some Mandalorians, you'd be like, maybe this one doesn't make it out.
Yeah, exactly. Showing him develop, showing him
and
like
also,
learning how to ride and everything.
And also like the way they develop his character, because like he speaks very, very minimally.
Mm-hmm.
Even throughout the show, like he starts speaking more throughout it, but still very few lines of dialogue. And when he does speak, they're very, very short sentences.
Yeah. And I think Pedro Pascal has done an awesome job to be able to like not have hardly any lines, but portray everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like because you don't see his face, he barely speaks, but yet there is like so much depth to this character already. Like the way he acts, just like it's one of those you can't see his face, but you can tell the exact expression he's making in scenes. It's incredible.
The body language, everything like
so
shows all of that off, and it's just like when I watch the show, I don't see Pedro Pascal.
I don't either.
Like, I don't see it at all because, like, you're not seeing the face. And I think it's a wise decision to keep his face hidden so people aren't just like, oh, that's the guy who got his eyes busted out in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So all the lore helps that out. But, like, he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. But, it's so interesting that, like, because of all that, how they're able to develop his character quickly, but not, like, rushed, because like you get a lot of character development even within just the first episode. I mean, this is also because you're meeting him, so you're learning about him, and they have to develop him that way. But like, it's so much happens through so little in like the best possible way. It's so good. Good.
And I love that Dave Filoni is the guy that directed the first one. Jon Favreau is kind of like running.
Yeah, he's one of the executive producers, and he created and wrote it.
Yeah, and Dave Filoni, if you don't know, he's the guy that was over like the animation part of Lucas for a really long time. Like,
okay, I thought the name sounded familiar.
Yeah, he did the Clone War series and everything. So like him and Jon Favreau working together, like bringing him in, like it is really good.
Very good.
And shout out Jon Favreau, man.
Oh my gosh. It's one of those, I don't think I've seen everything he's done, but everything of his that I have seen, I've always like thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, like him coming from like comedy and everything into like where he's like worked on the Iron Man movies.
Iron Man. He did the Spider-Man movies. Yeah, that's right. He did Jungle Book.
He did Lion King as well.
A real far throwback. He did Elf.
Really?
I don't know if he directed. I think he helped. He either directed it or he helped write it. I know he was involved somehow, and then he has the cameo as the Doctor.
Yeah. So, like, he's developed a lot over the last 20 years.
For sure.
As an actor and a director. Because I love him as Happy.
Oh, he's so great.
Awesome as Happy.
I'm sorry, Far From Home spoilers. Actually, I think it's in the trailer, but whatever. And remember, it's like, he's like, well, you work for Spider-Man? I do not work for Spider-Man. It's so funny.
Oh, man. He goes, he's riding the...
Yeah, riding the burgies, the burgers. The burgers.
Yep.
The hamburgers.
Snappy boy.
Snappy boy.
Anyway, focus. So he's riding. He gets to this camp where, like, it's this big compound.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've spoken.
And he's like, peace.
Gone. And then, like, he's looking. Now, I'm going to point out a flaw here, okay? I don't point out many flaws in the show because I really enjoy it.
But it's okay to show that we can criticize things that we like.
So, like, he puts up his little scope and he's looking and he starts over here.
Oh, no.
And then the next time he puts it right in the middle. And I'm just like...
I didn't even... Oh, my gosh, you're right. He totally does.
I'm just like... Boy.
It's
like, could you not just shoot it one more time?
Just reuse the same footage.
Yeah, something. Or not do it again.
Yeah, they didn't have to do it.
But it was just one of those things. It's like, oh, man. Like, are you a Cyclops under there? Is that, like... Do you have 3 eyes?
Yeah, maybe he's like Garnet. He's got 3 eyes.
Maybe he's got 3 eyes. That was just like one flaw that I saw. I was just like,
yeah. You're totally right. He absolutely does just go boop.
Yeah, and like the first episode, like there's times through all 4 so far that has some like CGI will be really good in places, and then CGI
and sometimes it's a little lacking.
Will be a little lacking, like when they're riding the little bergs or whatever.
Yeah, it's not the greatest in the world.
It's not the greatest. Sometimes Baby Yoda looks a little weird.
A little bit, yeah.
Like it looks like it was like afterthought. So he's looking, and then he sees a droid come in,
which is now I want to fact check myself. I'm pretty sure it's actually that robot or the droid, excuse me, was voiced by Taika Waititi.
Yep, he was.
And I was like, yay! I love Taika. He's
awesome.
Awesome.
He's got like good comedic timing and everything, and he's
incredible.
an awesome director.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm
director.
super excited for the next Thor movie.
Yeah. So we see him like come up, and this is IG-11, not IG-88.
Yes.
Because there's many droids. And he's like, droids, like he is not about droids.
Yeah.
So like it starts like the ride of like seizure or whatever announcement, and like there's probably like 40 or 50 guys.
Yeah, and they're all just coming out of the waterworks. You know,
it's
you got the different waves. It's like one after the other.
And this is the best moment of the first episode, like this whole fight. Like it is really so cool.
It's it's really cool, and like how they're like okay, we got to work together, and then this and that, and then eventually like one guy, he brings out basically like a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
And then he was like, all right, cover me, and then Mando gets on it and just mows down everybody.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, oh, wait, how are we going to get in this door? And then it's like, they kind of look at each other, and then they look at the gun. And then like the next shot is like card cut to them like shooting the door down.
Yeah.
And then they just like walk through, like, light shining behind them. There's this really dramatic entrance. It's so great.
And I love that. Like it has its comedic moments and everything. He's like, up top, and he's like, and like the body falls and all of this. And he's like, I'm going to start self-destruct. He's like, don't start self-destruct.
Yeah, constantly throughout the fight. Yeah, the droid's like, I'm going to start self-destructing. I was like, stop, don't do this. It's so funny.
Like, that's good comedic timing.
So
like
funny.
Good comedy in that moment, because like it's still action packed.
Yeah, and like it doesn't take you out of the scene. It doesn't feel like forced humor.
It feels like the original trilogy when they use humor in those moments and everything.
Yeah, you have to make the humor work for the moment, not make the moment work for the humor.
Yeah, it's not like somebody like Mando took out a fish out of his
like,
utility belt and like,
how did that get in there?
Yeah,
Whoops.
Slap somebody with it, and like, something smells fishy, something.
Okay, but honestly, I would love if Mando did that. If Mando got if he pulled a fish out, slapped someone with it, was like just deadpan, something smells fishy. I'd be like, you know what? That's okay.
One thing I want to point out, we'll wrap up episode 1. IG-11 looks cool. Like his movement where he's just like turn around, just like,
and then like his eyes are like
all the way around. Like that is awesome, because we've never seen like that really happen before.
Right.
I think maybe in the Clone Wars you might have seen an IG unit. I haven't watched Clone
Wars
all the way through, so
I've seen like clips online, but I've never sat down to watch it.
Like that was like,
it was really cool.
A really cool moment, because like IG-88 is like a really cool like I've read books with him in it and everything. He's like really dope.
Right.
So like seeing like that actually in action and like animated and everything was awesome.
Yeah. And then they get inside and they're like, oh, whatever the package is here. And then they open, they're like, oh, it's in this little like eggy thing. And they open it, and there he is. The beautifulest boy, Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Like he wakes up and he's just got if you have not, I feel like everyone on the internet has, but if you have not seen a picture of Baby Yoda, just Google it. Your life will be so much better. I promise.
Yes.
He's this tiny little baby. And that's everyone, like, they're like, wait a minute, isn't this 50, like, Mando's like, this thing is like 50 years old. And then Droid's like, well, other species age differently.
Yeah.
So he's just this little baby, and he's got these big old eyes, and he's just like, meh.
Yeah. And then it's like too bad,
Yeah, the droid's like, well, time to kill him. And Mando's like, excuse me? And droid's like, yeah, I mean, they said to,
to kill it.
Yeah, and then...
And I love, like, this is such good storytelling, where it's focused on him. You see IG-11's, like,
yeah, you see, like,
lift
his
up.
Gun's up, and then like, it cuts to...
Mando's...
feet.
No,
right?
it cuts to his, like, just his helmet. Like,
I was talking about the cut after that, because it cuts to...
Yeah, it cuts, like, you hear the blaster, you see the red flash, and you're like, holy crap, did they just kill?
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah.
Like, and then it cuts, and you see the IG unit fall down with a hole.
Yeah, and Mando's just like, no.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything, but, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, that's like, you never see the face, but you can tell. He's just like, no, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then Baby Yoda's like, oh.
Yeah, and that ends the first episode. I don't know how long that took us.
I don't know. We'll rush through the other two, I guess, because I mean, it's
other
the pilot.
Still got 3. All right, everybody, we're gonna stop the video right here. it's gone, it's long. We've talked a lot about episode 1 of The Mandalorian, and I hope that y'all been enjoying it. We did episodes 2, 3, and 4 already. We're going to be working on 5 since that's already came out as well. But let us know what your favorite part of episode 1 is down in the comments below. And while you're there, go ahead, hit the subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're over on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, follow the page, like it, share, all that good stuff. It helps out a ton. You wouldn't think it does, but it actually does. But we love to hear what your thoughts are and everything. But we'll be coming out with more and more of these reviews on The Mandalorian, kind of breaking it down, because me and Allie really enjoyed making this. But thank you so much for watching, taking out the time to do that. And I know your time is valuable, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. This has been Zach. Y'all have a blessed week.